Greeting YouTube and welcome back to the Encyclopedia Magica Volume 1. I don't remember what episode that we are in, and it seemed appropriate today because I'm wearing a GM shirt. There you go. Alrighty, so let's pull this up and we're going to check and see what we get. I have to hide this thing from my cat. If I let it dangle, she is going to go after it. So there we go. So we are still in the amulet section, believe it or not. I shouldn't have been surprised by that fact, I guess. So we have the amulet of protection from good, which I guess seems really appropriate for the bad people. Formed by temple guards and priests of evil deities. The amulets are created by a special process known only to the high-level priests. Each element shaped like a distorted skull is worn in plain view and serves as an unholy symbol. That's from Dungeon Magazine 11. And it was 600 XP value to make. And remember, you had to spend XP, which makes no sense to make magic items. And it cost 3,000 gold pieces. 3,000 gold pieces is a piece of change. That's nothing to scoff at. And they're saying that every priest and guard at the temple wears one of these things? Do you have any idea how easy that would be to make a whole lot of money on the black market with one of these things? Wow, that seems weird. Okay. Then we have the amulet of protection from sleep. Who wants protection from sleep? They're cheap, 500 XP, 2,000 gold. When worn on a chain or a cord around the neck, the object prevents its wearer from falling asleep, either natural or induced magical sleep. The wearer is always alert under its influence and cannot be affected by sleep spells, potions, or poisons that cause sleep, nor the sleep gaze of a jackalware. I forgot jackalwares had a sleep gaze. Or any other item or procedure that causes sleep. The amulet of protection from sleep can be worn as long as desired. However, after 3 days of continual use, the wearer begins to have mild and infrequent hallucinations. These effects increase in frequency and intensity each day after that. After 7 straight days of sleeplessness, the user is afflicted by a form of insanity determined by the roll of a 1d6. Okay, I gotta see this, man. I mean, it's okay. It's called, its section is induced dementia. Okay, dementia praecox. The afflicted character is quite uninterested in any undertaking when suffering from the form of madness. Nothing seems worthwhile, and the individual is filled with lassitude and a tremendous feeling of ennui. No matter how important the situation, it is 25% likely that the distressed character chooses to ignore it as meaningless. It makes you really depressed. Great. And this delusional insanity, similar to megalomania. In this state, the deluded person is convinced that he or she is a famous figure, a monarch, a demigod, or a similar personage. Those who fail to recognize the true nature of this affliction arouse great hostility. In normal affairs, the individual seems sane but acts in a manner appropriate to a station that he or she does not actually hold, gives orders to actual or imagined creatures, and draws upon monies or items that do not exist. Then there's schizophrenia. Wow, this gets dark, man. This form of insanity strikes suddenly and violently. The afflicted can become hysterical, enraged, or completely maniacal. This is not good. Okay, then we have paranoia. The onset of this derangement, the beset individual becomes convinced that they, in quotation marks, are plotting against him or her. Yep, that's paranoia. And then last is 5 or 6. So you only actually have 5 options here. Hallucinatory insanity. The malady causes the sufferer to see, hear, and otherwise sense things that do not exist. Yeah, that's a really dangerous item, man. Really dangerous. Would be healthy on a short term, but still dangerous. I wonder what the downside from that is. I mean, like that, you take that off and all of a sudden, boom, back, and you just pass out. Okay, then we have a protection from turning, and there are 5 varieties going from +1 to +5. Not a real shocker there. And it goes in value from 5,000 to 15,000 gold pieces. That's a very Obviously, protection for turning is useful if one is an undead. Um, and as your average player character is not undead, probably not going to be all that useful to them. Then we have the Amulet of Psionic Interference. This is from the Dark Sun campaign setting. That makes sense. Um, this item scrambles the wearer's psychic abilities, rendering the user incapable of making any psionic power checks. The device creates a magical field around the wearer's mind that does not limit the psychic strength points, but interferes with them so that they cannot be called upon for power checks. The power amulet does not interfere with the wearer's ability to recover psychic power strength points. We just call them power points in Pathfinder now, and in 3.5. Only the person who places the amulet can remove it. But it's really expensive. 5,000 XP to make one of these things. But it's only got a gold piece value of 7,500. They just have no consistency in these things. I mean, the couple of last items I talked about, it was like it was 5,500 to, actually, what was that? What was the ratio on that one? Sorry, let me go back one page. Yeah, it was 500 to 2,000, and the last one was 600 to 3,000. So there's a ratio there in those two items, okay? But 5,000 to 7,500, that's not much of a ratio. That's weird. I mean, there is a ratio, obviously, but that's wow, okay. Then we have Amulet of Psionic Reflection, Dragon Magazine 99. The Githyanki Mind Flayer Wars spawned a number of interesting psionically related magic items and weapons. Among them is the Githyanki Amulet of Psionic Reflection, a small ornate device that is pinned to a headband and placed that is centered on the user's forehead. The user is protected. Let's have it be a diadem or something. Okay. The user is protected from all psionic blast attacks, and protection does not extend to anyone else. In addition, if the psionic blast is cast upon the person wearing this amulet, the amulet itself generates a psionic blast in the direction of the attacker at half strength. All right, kind of cool. And this is a 4-to-1 ratio here, so 2,500 to make and 10,000 value. Then we have Psychic Protection. This amulet is good against both crystal balls and ESP. The wearer of this item is automatically protected from spying by anyone using a crystal ball or any type of ESP. We've seen amulets kind of like that already in this series. Kind of interesting. And we have the Amulet of Recall, Ghost Tower of Inverness. I think that was a module. On the Amulet of Recall can teleport or plane shift its user, anyone touching the user, and all carried gear to its symbiont point. The amulet's symbiont point is the last location in which it lay untouched by any living creature for 30 days or more. So you take the amulet and you leave it in one spot for 30 days. That becomes its home. You then put this on and you take it with you, and it can shift you, even from another plane, back to the home point. That's really powerful. And yet, an XP value of 1,000 XP to make and 5,000 cost. What adventuring party wouldn't want one of these? Because once you get your goal, you're gone. No transportation costs, no ships, no airships, no trekking back across the desert. Nothing. You've achieved your goal for your adventure, and then you just dip home. Wow, that's powerful, and I'm very disappointed that we never encountered that. The Amulet of Shakti from Dragon Magazine 45. Called to battle, Cosette uses a small figurine at her belt called a Shakti. When she speaks the command word, the Shakti surrounds her in scintillating blue-green armor class 0, which would... All right, remember, low is good. Low is good. I think everyone starts out with it. I think an unarmed person is at 10. So it's 10 points of armor. Um, and it arms her with 2 short swords plus 1 that give off electrical discharges when they hit an opponent on an attack roll of a 20. So you only get the the electrical thingy on a critical, essentially. Still pretty darn powerful. Nice way of not having to worry about wearing armor and weapons and getting into a place where you look like you don't have any. Then we have a amulet shell protection, the shell of protection from sharks. The amulet always in the form of a beautifully polished seashell half. When run around the neck, it creates a circle of protection with a 10-foot radius around the owner. Sharks cannot penetrate the circle, but the protection is fortified if the user is forfeited if the user attacks. And it's what 600 to make and 3,000. So again, you're looking at a decent ratio there. Very useful if you're in an aquatic campaign, particularly if there's a lot of sharks around. But in a fantasy setting, sharks are your least of your concerns. There are far worse things in the oceans and lakes of the world that you live in than sharks. Um, we got 11 minutes. Okay. The amulet of shields. Small amulet carved stone contains up to 24 charges. After uttering a command word, the wearer is protected with a shield spell cast at the 12th level and duration of 6 turns, which is an hour. Each such expenditure 1 charge, and the item cannot be recharged. So that's not too bad. An hour, yeah, and it costs 7,500 to make. Oh, no, 750 to make, and it costs 7,500. So there's a direct 1 to 10 ratio there. I really wish these costs made sense. Then we have sleeplessness. This magic item is the same as the amulet of protection from sleep. When worn, it performs all of the same functions and all of the same restrictions and dangers. However, it cannot be removed from the wearer's neck by anything less than a limited wish, or altered reality spell. So you need to get a limited wish or a wish spell to get this thing off. So yes, in a very short period of time, after about 3 days, you're going to go insane, and you're going to remain insane, um, and until someone gets this off of you. But it costs 1,000 gold pieces. There's no XP value, which is weird because this would be a great trap, but the trap's free. Because I guess the idea being is that somebody wanted to make the good amulet and they screwed up and made this one, but this one's going to sell, man. Maybe even more than the other one, because this one you can trap someone into using, or you place it upon them without their knowledge. I mean, it wouldn't be difficult to get a sneak attack and put a necklace on someone, or do it while they're asleep and suddenly they wake up and they got a necklace on and they can't take the necklace off. Now they can't sleep anymore. That's weird. Okay. Next we have the Amulet of Spine Castle from the Greyhawk Adventures. The Wizard of the Kingdom of Arity created the amulet to aid in the war against the northern barbarians. After the fall of Spine Castle, the amulet disappeared. Scholars assumed it didn't survive the wrath of the barbarians, but the story of the amulet still surfaces in the Bone March. Once per hour, this golden amulet can be commanded to radiate a magical aura in a 30-foot radius for 1 turn, 10 minutes. The aura has negative effects on all northern barbarians, raising their superstitious fears and generating hatred for magic. Is that a good idea? Those of the 1st to 4th level must save versus spell or immediately retreat out of the area of effect for 1d8 turns. Those of the 5th and 7th must save versus spell and be stunned for 1 turn. Those of a higher level have a -1 attack roll against the wearer. So how do you define Northern Barbarians? Is it like an ethnic group? Is it a cultural group? I mean, if there are halflings and orcs and humans and dwarves all in that organization, does it affect all of them because they all ally with the Northern Barbarian peoples? Is there some kind of oath they take that makes them a Northern Barbarian? ill-conceived on that one. All right, then we have the Amulet of the Spirit from Fate of Istis, which I believe was also a module of some variety. And this is a ratio of 1,000 to 5,000. The item is a small gold disc on a thin chain. The use of the detect magic and similar spells indicate a strong dweomer, but won't give any idea of exactly what the amulet powers are. That should make you very nervous. Anyone wearing the amulet is immune to magic and attacks that directly affect the soul or spirit, like Soul Trap, Magic Jar, or Ghost Touch, etc., or possession. The amulet also provides a 25% magic resistance against ESP and telepathy that cannot be waived. So good, bad kind of situation. The wearer dies if the wearer dies while wearing the amulet, his essence is held in stasis until freed. While in stasis, the essence cannot progress in any other plane of existence that may be waiting for it. The person cannot be raised, resurrected, or reincarnated, and speak with dead and similar spells won't work at all. To free the essence, the amulet must be removed from contact with the body. Then the spell Bless Protection for Evil and Chant must be cast over the body. So you take the necklace off the person, and then you bless Protection from Evil and Chant cast over the body, and then the essence goes back from the necklace into the body. I just think casting those spells in that order would probably cut it in my book. You don't have to remove it. Just going to transfer the person back into their own body. That's kind of good. All right, so we're going to call that quits here today. That's the S's. Next time we'll start with the T's and put my fancy schmancy attached bookmark back in place. So thank you for being here for the latest episode of the Encyclopedia Magica Volume 1, and it does not want to focus at all on those letters. My apology. Come on. Can you do that for me? Now you don't want to. All right, regardless. Thanks for being here, and I hope that you're here for next episode.